All right, welcome to another episode of Video Store Rejects. This is a podcast where we discuss directors' filmographies and our favorite film franchises. I'm your host, Cody House, and with me today is a returning guest, Justin Doyle. And in Justin Doyle fashion, we're going to be talking about a movie he's never seen before, which I wish more people were enthusiastic about watching things they've never seen before, going back and being like, oh, maybe I should go watch that. I haven't seen this one before. And we're talking Miller's Crossing, a Coen Brothers movie you had not seen before.
No. And yeah, there's actually a few. I think the other one was Hudsucker's Proxy. I hadn't seen that. And then I think I've seen The Man Who Wasn't There, but it's not really coming to my mind. I know it's what's his name?
Billy Bob Thornton.
Billy Bob.
It's in black and white. So that's like them really doing a film noir.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of that, right? This movie, Miller's Crossing, is sort of like a noir film.
Yeah, it's a little bit because it's very heavily inspired by Dashiell Hammett's work, which is very noir. He wrote The Maltese Falcon. Particularly, they are very much inspired by The Glass Key and Red Harvest, which their first film title comes from the book Red Harvest, Blood Simple. And the plot of Red Harvest and the plot of this movie have a very similar connection to a movie, well, two movies, I guess, that have this sort of plot that we keep seeing recycled all the time. That's Yojimbo and A Fistful of Dollars, where the title character is kind of playing both sides at the same time, which is what Tom ends up doing in this movie. Gabriel Byrne, he plays the Irish and the Italian mobs off against one another.
Yeah, he had his hand in everything and knew everybody, even like the cops, the coppers, Yeah, he just knows everybody.
Well, when you're the boss's right-hand man, you're the guy telling him how he should act and what he should do. You get to know everybody, and like he plays everybody to how he thinks they'll react.
Yeah. Did you like Gabriel Byrne as the lead in this movie?
Yeah, I think he's a good for this because he comes off kind of like, and most of it's a facade for Tom, but he comes off kind of cold and calculating, doesn't care.
Yeah. Which worked, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what's going on.
Maybe you got someone auditioning or rehearsing for Stomp up there.
Yeah, or the Irish jig guy.
Yeah, he's still celebrating St. Patrick's.
Well, I'm in Georgia, and in Savannah, Georgia, they celebrate like the Irish do for some reason. I don't know why, but they celebrate this the holiday like the Irish do.
Well, maybe there's a lot of Irish ancestry in Savannah.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
But this has to be one of Gabriel Byrne's biggest movies, right? I think this is in his top 4.
I'm trying to think other than this and The Usual Suspects, like what are the big Gabriel Byrne roles?
Yeah, I don't think there is any more than the two that you just named, because he's also always in Hereditary.
And, that's right. He's Toni Collette's husband in Hereditary.
And another one in top 4 is End of Days with Arnold.
Right, he's the devil in End of Days.
Yeah, so that's those are all pretty big movies for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Interesting about his performance is the Coens thought about not having him use his Irish accent, but he's like, I think it'll work for how my character like speaks for him to use his accent.
Yeah, and to be fair, it was in and out. Like you didn't hear it. Like it wasn't always, you couldn't really hear it in his voice every single time he spoke. But for the most part, you can definitely tell that he's an Irishman. And I
Yeah,
think it did. I think it really did work that he kept that in there because it's it's a mob. It's Irish mob. I mean, it worked out perfectly.
yeah, he's got to be like the only Irish person in the movie because I don't think Albert Finney was Irish.
No, no. But speaking of Albert Finney, he was in The Duelist,
Right.
which is the last movie I did with you guys. So I'm getting a
It,
lot of
getting that Albert Finney in.
yeah, I am. This one obviously had a little bit more to do than the first one, but he still seemed out of breath, like he wasn't the duelist just putting his his coat on. But
Well, I mean, to be
he
fair, in this
yeah.
movie, he gets in a fist fight with Gabriel Byrne and, has an epic shootout scene.
Yeah, well, it's my favorite scene is that shootout scene, and what the Coen brothers are so masterful because what a way to create the tension of a scene and um, because obviously this is the big scene in the movie and it plays you know, in movie lore, this scene where he's shooting up with the Tommy gun. But I love the way that it was set up because the music is playing, can't hear the intruders come in, and the only way that he's able to know that there is somebody there is because the smoke billowed in from down below, and yeah, he knew something was up. And had he not seen that smoke, he definitely would have been a dead man. But he does turn into uh, a Tommy gun and gun just champ because he's there's more than one person who's coming after him and he takes them all down.
Yeah, because the guy, I guess it's supposed to be his bodyguard for the night. They kill him, and he was smoking, and so I guess the residue of his smoke rises up,
Yeah,
and
the
he's
smoke caught fire to the paper and then yeah, the smoke bellowed in from down below. And yeah, I just think that's so smart because it's a good way to tell a story instead of just having it be, kicking the door, guns blazing, but instead it was like very tense filled and yeah, we thought that Albert Finney was gonna get his right then and there.
yeah, and it's a really well done, and it's just the Coen brothers using these little subtleties to move the scene along.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You guys have done two others for this series so far.
Yeah, we've done their first two films, so this is their third film,
How does
and
the hold up
I,
in ranking so far?
God, it's so hard because all three of these are masterfully done films, and like they're all different movies. Like Blood Simple is a noir that kind of turns into a slasher movie in the last act, and then Raising Arizona is just a screwball comedy that's basically like watching a cartoon come to life. Like that could have been an animated movie, as ridiculous as it is. And then this
Yeah,
is this is a prohibition era gangster movie. Even though it's not set in a specific city, it very much feels like it's Chicago of like the 1920s or 30s.
yeah, but
Even though
it's
they
shot.
in New
Yeah,
Orleans, yeah, it's
yeah,
shot in New Orleans, but it feels like Chicago to me watching it.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they filmed it in New Orleans because they still have 1920s architecture still up.
That makes
Uh,
sense, yeah.
yeah, which I was just in New Orleans and had a great time.
Oh, yeah, I like that place. It's a little wild and crazy, but yeah, it's a neat city.
It sure was. We were there the weekend after Mardi Gras, and yeah, there was still just like a residue from Mardi Gras.
Well, we went for our honeymoon, which is late April, and we were trying to cross the street to go somewhere to eat, and this person kept putting beads on us, right? We're just waiting to go to the crosswalk, and I'm like, I only have like a couple of bucks left in cash, so then he started taking the beads off of us. I was like, well, you put them on me, man. I didn't
Yeah.
ask for these beads.
What a scammer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that whole sort of bead thing as until we got there, and I'm with my girlfriend, and people are shouting from up atop, saying like, "Hey, who wants beads?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is what this place does."
Yep. But
We didn't get any beads.
okay. How do you feel about this movie? Because I know you prefer their comedies, and this isn't really a comedy, even though there is a lot of witty banter back and forth with the dialogue, because that's just what the Coens do. Like, they're really good at that.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's really good. It's a really really solid film. Looking over their sort of filmography here, none of their movies are ever like my favorite. Um, I haven't seen Blood Simple or uh, where's the other one? What was the other
Raising
one?
Arizona?
Oh, I saw that one. Oh, The Hudsuckers Proxy. I haven't seen that one.
Okay.
Then The Man Who Wasn't There. I think I've seen, but I'm not too positive. But um, yeah, like none of them ever stick out to me as like my favorites. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, that first scene is definitely one of my favorite things I've ever done. And I actually do like Barton Fink a lot. I'm not a huge fan of Big Lebowski, um, but no, I actually really like this movie. I don't know, the title is sort of off putting. Miller's Crossing. I mean, where does it even come from? I know it's like a place. It's got to be like the forest, right? That's
That's
the
what,
name.
yeah, that's what it's called. That's the place where they go to, where he goes and he pretends. Well, what sets off this whole movie is because John Polito, who is great in this movie, who wants John Turturro dead. So this is John Turturro's first time with the Coens, because John Turturro is a bookie who I guess is scamming him and like taking his money. But Albert Finney won't have him killed because he's the brother of his girlfriend, who's played by Marcia Gay Harden.
Boy, oh boy, she was looking pretty good. Yeah, her first like main feature film here is Marcia Gay Harden. But yeah, that does sort of kick it all off, and you know, uh, Gabriel Byrne decides to not, take the life. And I think that maybe that could, that could catch him in the back later.
It
But yeah, this
almost.
whole
Go
go ahead.
ahead.
Well, I was
I
just gonna
said.
say the whole underlining theme here is gambling. Like it's about horse racing, I believe. So yeah, there's that going on, and every time that there's gambling and money involved, people can tend to be gangsters about it.
Yeah, but I think he decides to not kill him for the same reasons that Albert Finney doesn't kill him. Even though Gabriel Byrne acts like he doesn't care about anybody, doesn't, I don't trust anyone, you're all out for something. Like, he actually does care about Albert Finney and Marcia Gay Harden. And I think that's the reason why he doesn't kill him, even though it kind of backfires on him in the middle of the movie.
She's, I guess, can come off as sort of like a lady of the night, but you know, she does have her heart in other places. You know, like she really she wants a different sort of life. Um, uh, yeah. So, but you can tell she's into Gabriel Byrne and he's into her. So that always is going to be an issue when your boss is actually dating her. So
Yep. And I think she works for him because, there's that scene where he goes to the dressing room and has an argument with her, and there's all those other women in there. So I think she's also an employee of Leo's.
yeah, yeah. I know that's what I'm saying. I wonder what is she could a lady of the night. I
I
thought she did
don't know.
a really good
I,
job.
I don't know if she's a lady of the night or she's like I don't know if they're like performers or maybe they're just like there for like eye candy for the people coming in and gambling. Like, I'm not sure what she does really, but obviously she wants to move up, and Albert Finney is probably the best chance for her to like move up in status because of his wealth and power he has, because he basically controls the city. Like, he has the mayor and the police chief on his take.
Mm. I think I can hear you now.
Oh, did you lose me for a second because you were frozen?
Yeah. Did you hear me about asking if you've ever gambled at horse racing?
I have not. I've never done that. I'm not a gambler. I don't like trying to lose what little money I have on something frivolous.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I lived in San Diego and they have the Del Mar racetracks there, so that's always big. And yeah, I mean, I never lost any big amounts of money. It was, a couple bucks here or there or whatever. But yeah, it's fun. It's a huge ordeal, and back in the 20s, it was one of the only ways to gamble sort of legally, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, they were trying to shut all this stuff down in this time period, and I guess it didn't work out.
Yeah.
People want to gamble, people want to drink.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was the other thing. Yeah, drinking was. I mean, it's the 20s, so this is Prohibition era, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so every time that he went over to see Marcia Gay Harden, it was always about a drink as well, because I guess she, was a collector. She,
Mm-hmm.
we knew where to get the booze because Verna had it over there. Um, did you know that Frances McDormand's in this movie?
Yes, she is. She is the mayor's secretary. I mean, part of this is probably because she is married to Joel Cohen.
Yeah.
But what's funny is she's not in every Coen Brothers movie, and she mentions that because they met on Blood Simple, and she's like, every time they write a script, I'm like, well, is there a part in it for me in this one? And sometimes they're like, yeah, here's a part for you, and sometimes it's like, no, there's not anything in here for you in this one. Because
Yeah,
we
that was.
talked about how easy it could have been for him to like just cast her in every movie because his wife is a great actress, but he doesn't do it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, he only does it if it's like a good role for her.
Yeah. And I mean, it was a really, really small role for her.
Yeah, she has a small role in this and Raising Arizona, and I think she only has a voice role in Barton Fink. So like those earlier movies besides Blood Simple, she's not really doing much in them. But they have her in there briefly. You know who else is cameoed in here as a director? Sam Raimi. He is the police officer who's like showing off his fancy gun work in that one police raid.
Really?
Yeah, that's Sam Raimi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weird. Weird.
Well, they're friends. Like, they've worked together on various projects, and Joel Cohen actually helped edit the first Evil Dead movie. So,
Oh, wow. Um, Yeah, that's crazy. Sam Raimi. Whoa. That's
And
got
there's even
his first role then, right?
um he's he shows up every once in a while in something, especially back in this era. Like he'll show up and do something. Like he showed up in some schlocky horror movies. Like he's a newscaster in this cult movie called Maniac Cop from the 80s with Bruce Campbell, who's his buddy. Um but yeah, and there's even like watching these movies now and knowing that they were friends when they were getting their careers started. There's another Sam Raimi type of shot in this movie, and it's in John Polito's office where Tom has convinced Casper that the Dane, his main bodyguard, is like double crossing him with those bets. Like
What was the shot?
it's like where the camera kind of zooms in on the action. It's doing like some crazy zooming in and out work. Like, you know, the Spider-Man 2 scene with the Doc Ock.
Yeah.
Sir, that's I call it a Sam Raimi shot because like there's usually in a Sam Raimi movie there's like some sort of weird super zoom shot in his movies like that he did like in the Evil Deads and stuff.
Yeah. 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 That's cool. Yeah, there was actually a lot of sort of trickery with camera work in here. I think the Coens, well, the cinematographer was
Barry
Bonneville.
Sonnenfeld. This is his last film he did with them. He did their first 3 films. And what's interesting is for the outside scenes when they're going to Miller's Crossing, those 2 scenes, he's like, we got to shoot those on overcast days. And they're like, well, we can't just wait for the weather to depend on our shot. But like for the most part, when they shot those scenes, they were overcast. I think there was just a little bit of them having to trick the lighting because of the sunlight.
Interesting. I know John Turturro says that he kind of built his character around Sonnenfeld.
Yeah, yeah, I read that too. I thought that was like maybe the voice and the mannerisms, which this is his first collaboration with the Coens, and I think he is equally slimy and like a scumbag, but also like sad and pathetic. Like especially like that whole put on scene, which is really good though. At the first time you hear it, like you're like, man, this guy's really pleading for his life. But then when he tries to do it again at the end, you're like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, I don't think it's gonna work the second time.
No. Yeah, because he repeats the same words from the scene before,
Yeah,
which is look into your heart or look in your heart.
yeah.
Um, and this time, Tom had a different answer.
Well, what's interesting is, like we said, I think he spares him because he cares for Verna, but at the same time, I think that's why he decides to. I'm gonna spoil a 30-something-year-old movie. Why he kills him
Yeah,
at the end
yeah. He
for the
says,
same reason.
"What heart?" Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier. Is he spares them, but did he was it smart to do that? I don't know. I don't think so. I really did like that scene that first one in Miller's Crossing when he's pleading for his life. He's like, I'll leave, I'll run away, and he spares him. Like, I thought John Turturro did a really good job. I thought that was a really good scene, and I can see why the Coens wanted to keep using him in other movies.
Yeah, they make him the lead in their next movie, which they created because of the problems they were having trying to work this script out.
Yeah, yeah, so crazy. Like, you have to be just really smart to be able to write 2 different movies at the same time because you may think of something that would work for both films, maybe, and you don't want to put them in both. And you know, maybe you're making the mistake by putting it in this one and not in this one, and there's just so much that can go wrong. But obviously, with the success of both of these movies, not like box office success, but as far as like, I think Miller's Crossing is in one of the top best movies or 100 best movies or something.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. This was a box office flop when it came out.
Yeah, big time.
The reviews were mostly good, but like I know a lot of people who consider this like their favorite Coen Brothers movie. Like there's a lot of people that like really love this. And I don't know if it's because of like it's probably like the most complicated of a Coen Brothers plot, which I think all their movies have complicated plots because it's always about somebody getting into a bad situation and like they're trying to fix it, but it always keeps getting worse and worse.
Yeah. I like the production design on this too, because we talked about it being filmed in New Orleans, but also that sort of warehouse, John Polito's warehouse. I just thought was really, really cool. There's a lot of green in there, and I think the production design really worked for this film, even though a lot of it is close-ups and you're really just kind of seeing what you're seeing. Like here, you're not really seeing sort of what's going on in the back. I feel like it was all it was probably just all practical, and they didn't really have to build too much. But I really enjoyed the production design of this movie.
I think they purposely made a lot of green in this because it's mostly dealing with Irish characters.
Yeah.
But I got a question for you because this has been a large debate since the Criterion edition came out. Which version did you watch? Because apparently in the Criterion version, they took out a line of dialogue that's in the original movie when Gabriel Byrne is taken to John Polito's warehouse and he's like, I'm going to pay off your debts if you let me kill Turturro and smooth this over with Albert Finney. So when his goons are beating him up, there's a scene where Gabriel Byrne grabs the chair and hits that guy. In the original version of the movie, the guy says, Jesus, Tom. But in the Criterion, they take that line out and he just has like a facial reaction.
No, I watched the original because he did say Jesus, Tom.
Okay. Yeah, because there's been a large debate on Twitter about people like, why'd they take that line out?
Yeah, that's Mike Starr who's in Dumb and Dumber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was good to see him. But
I always confuse him for Danny Aiello, and then I'm like, oh no, that's not Danny Aiello, but they look similar.
Yeah. But I did like that scene. It's so like, what a weird response to being hit in the chair. Jesus, Tom.
And that's another thing. I watched Siskel and Ebert's review of this, and Siskel really liked this movie, and Ebert wasn't so hot on it. And one of Ebert's complaints was like, why didn't they go with him to make sure he killed that guy?
Yeah. So weird. Like, yeah, oh my God, it's so dumb. I think that's, it's perfect for movie lore, though, just to do that sort of stuff, because this is not the first time I've seen it in a movie. I don't know. I'm sure this isn't the first time it's happened, but yeah, that's so strange to me. I'm looking at some of the trivia here on IMDb, and it says that there's 3 cameos in this movie, not just
Frances McDormand and Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
Who's the third?
Albert Finney.
Right, he's dressed as one of the ladies in that dressing room scene. That's right. I don't know who he is, but I read that too, and I was like, oh, well, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Like, what for? What is that even going? What is that doing for anybody?
Maybe he just was like, they were filming and a day he's not shooting. He's like, I want to do something fun.
Jesus, Albert Finney.
Did
Apparently,
you?
Jenkins was up for the part.
Yeah, I can't. Well, I don't know. After Nightmare Alley, maybe he could have done it, but like
Yeah,
normally, I don't
I was
think would have
I
seen
was
him in
thinking the
this kind of role.
same thing. Is I don't know if he would have done really good, but then I was like, but wait a second. In Nightmare Alley, he was very menacing, and it worked really well.
You
So
know who
yeah,
they wanted to cast for this role, but the actor died before they started filming, was the guy that plays Nathan Arizona in Raising Arizona. They
oh
wanted to
yeah,
cast.
yeah, because it seems like they string along one movie to the next, at least of a character that's going to be in it. And I was wondering who came from Raising Arizona, but it would have been him.
It would have been him because the only other person that's also in Raising Arizona is Frances McDormand, who also has a small role in that.
Yeah,
So that's it. Because
yeah,
like they don't ever work with Nicolas Cage again. They don't work with Holly Hunter again till Oh Brother, and then John Goodman, of course, has a great role in Barton Fink, but
yeah,
which that's the name of, well, not Fink, but Barton Arms is where Gabriel Burns lives. That's his apartment building.
yeah, yeah. I recognize that. I was like, oh, okay, I see. Yeah.
I wonder if they added that after they started on the Barton Fink script when they were
Yeah,
like having writer's block.
I'm wondering the same. That's really funny.
And speaking of actors they were going to cast in the roles, the only two actors like that they had on their list that they wanted to cast that made it into the movie was John Turturro and Marcia Gay Harden, I think.
Well, it says Julie Roberts, Demi Moore, and Jennifer Jason Leigh auditioned to play Verna, but didn't get the role, obviously.
Interesting, because like those were all bigger name actors at the time.
Well, yeah, definitely. And I mean, Julia Roberts would go on to play a Lady of the Night.
Yeah, that's Pretty Woman.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. This was a pretty solid film. I like the the narrative of it all. This is about underlining gambling and stabbing each other in the back. I mean, you always sort of see this when it happens, like the boss and the right hand man, like you see this a lot, and I wonder if this really did happen like in the mob days, or if this is sort of a Hollywood, you know, staple that they do, because most of the time you wouldn't see a right hand man stab your boss in the back like that, or cheat with the wife, because death is for sure going to happen. You are
Yep.
dead if you screw over the boss. So I don't know. I wonder if this happened a lot back in the 20s and 30s.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, I don't know if this like really happens in real life that much, or if this is like just a Hollywood staple of the noir genre. Like that's what happens,
Yeah.
Oh, like the femme fatale, and like you get in trouble because you're messing with the wrong person's girl, and which is weird because he cares for both of them. Like he's not actually trying to double cross Albert Finney. He's like trying to protect Albert Finney
Yeah.
this whole time.
Yeah, and I guess I do see Tom and Verna together more than I see
Leo
Verna.
and Verna.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, they're closer in age, which is weird because Gabriel Byrne and John Polito are the same age, but we're led to believe that Polito is probably closer to Finney's age in
yeah,
the movie.
yeah. Well, he does look older for sure, even though they are the same age.
So it's kind of wild.
Yeah. Um. This little tidbit right here says the city where the story takes place is never named directly in the film. However, there's a clue where Tom tells Vernon to leave and go to the Palisades. The Palisades is a stretch of rocky cliffs of Bergen County in North New Jersey, and Rockland
Oh,
County of New York. So, yeah, it's supposed to take place in between there.
Interesting, because like
somewhere
I said,
around.
I get Chicago vibes from this movie, not New York.
Yep. Yep. I mean, there's mobsters everywhere probably during this time, so it could have been either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the acting in this is pretty solid. I don't think that Tom or Gabriel Byrne was the strongest actor in this movie. I think the supporting cast was better. You know, John Turturro and Marcia Gay Hart, and even throwing in Mink.
Oh yeah, Steve Buscemi, you baby Steve Buscemi,
Yeah.
who apparently was cast for this small role because of how fast he could talk.
I mean, it's really what's given him his career, right? Is he's a fast talking, sort of strange looking dude.
Yep, he's funny looking.
He's a little, yeah, he's a big ass eyes, and yeah, I don't know. He always just seems sort of creepy.
Yeah, and he looks so weird in this movie because I feel like weirder than he would like just a couple of years later in Reservoir Dogs when they put the goatee on him. But like here, it's like, oh, you haven't aged into your body yet, Steve Buscemi. Like,
No. I mean, we all know he's got a huge head, but that small framed body, I'm surprised can hold it up.
like it's like they hadn't quite figured out like his look, like how to like play his look off on screen yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of like, oh, hey, I know you, and I think John Polito's great in this movie as Johnny Casper. He's probably the most hilarious character in the movie.
Yes. Yep, I really enjoyed him and his performance, and you know the Coen brothers do a lot of, like I said, close-ups, and they do it a lot for Polito. Like I like that angle where it's like up here, the camera's like up here, and you can see his face really close, and then he like points out, and it's just really really good camera work. I mean, yeah, I guess the cinematographer, they know how to work with the Coens, so.
Oh yeah, they go from Barry Sonnenfeld to Roger Deakins, so they're getting the best.
Dang. Deakins and Barton does Barton Fink?
Yeah, I believe that's their first collaboration, and he has shot. I don't think he has shot every movie since then, but he's shot most of them.
Okay.
Like he didn't shoot Tragedy of Macbeth, I know that, and there might be another one he didn't shoot, but yeah, he shoots Barton Fink. And
Yeah.
I think my favorite Polito scene is the scene where he's talking to Gabriel Byrne and his kid comes in. He's telling his kid to be quiet, and then he just slaps the kid like as hard as you would slap. I don't know. It's like the hardest slap I've ever heard. And then, like the kid's crying, and then he's like consoling him. I mean, after he gets on, berates him about not being quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody is if you deserve to get smacked by the boss, you'll get smacked by the boss. It doesn't matter who you are, kid, girl, doesn't matter.
But yeah,
I like that scene too. Well, the other one where he asked him, "You want a penny? I'll get you a penny." He goes, "Guys, get him a penny." "I don't got a penny, boss." "All right, well, you owe him one. You owe him a penny." It's a penny.
Well, I mean, in the 20s, that probably could actually get you something.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but something.
No, but that was just a good scene. It's like, hey, all right, I'll give you a penny. Guys, get him a penny. "I don't got a penny, boss." "All right, well, you owe him a penny." Good. Got some of that witty dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Like, I heard someone describe the opening scene, which I guess now you understand why I said this is considered like the Irish Godfather. Like, someone described that opening scene as this, what if Billy Wilder directed The Godfather? Because because the dialogue exchange between Polito and Finney in that opening scene, and then just Gabriel Byrne's not talking very much, and then you got I believe the actor's name was J.E. Freeman, who plays the Dane, which you were telling me earlier, which I had read that Peter Stormare was supposed to play this role, and he was supposed to be called the Swede.
Interesting. Yeah, the Dane. What a name.
Yeah, and I like him a lot in this movie too. I don't really know what else this actor really did much. But like he's really menacing and like you believe like he will just straight up murder everybody in this movie. Like if he's able to beat up that big boxer guy that Gabriel Byrne tries to get into whatever he's trying to rope that guy in, and like, wow, he beat up that dude. That guy looks like he could have ate him.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, Gabriel Byrne gets beat up a lot in this one. I mean, even Albert Finney gives him a good rocking.
Yeah.
But he didn't fight back, because
and that's what makes it interesting for this type of movie, because he's not really a man of action or a man of muscle. He's like your counsel. Like he's the counsel for Finney.
Yeah, exactly. He's not really like the fighting type. But yeah, I know. He's a boxer. How did you beat him up? I mean, he wins titles. I guess he was just quicker than he is.
I guess so, but yeah, I think this is a really well-made movie. This is the Coens like, hey, we're gonna do a gangster movie, like in the style of a movie from the 30s, and it does, other than it's in color, it feels like a gangster movie of that era.
Oh yeah. I mean, you got the Tommy guns, you got the old school cars. I like after Albert Finney does the Tommy gun on the car, it like explodes. Would it explode that way? I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell, but I just really, I love that. It's so old school having people, shoot. It's a drive by. It's a modern day. It's an old school drive by. is what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Albert Finney is badass. Not really believable that he would, not get shot up after being shot at by a Tommy gun, but
so you're saying when he hides under the bed that one of those bullets should have got him?
Yes, and when he's in the street and the guys in the cars are shooting at him, I mean, he's just standing in the middle of the street walking towards those bullets, and every single one of them miss. So, yeah.
Maybe they hired stormtroopers to kill him.
Yeah. So stupid. But yeah, good stuff. What a film. And the Coens, I don't feel like they disappoint really. I think looking at their 18 movies, maybe
there's only two that and I'll see how I feel when I rewatch them, but I feel like there's only really two of them that don't quite live up to the Coen brothers standard. And one of those, they weren't even really initially involved in the beginning. It just kind of like they didn't develop that script. And then the other one, I think they just miscast the lead character and were trying to do something that maybe didn't quite work with what they were doing.
Are you talking about Intolerable Cruelty and Hail Caesar?
I'm talking about Intolerable Cruelty and The Lady Killers.
Oh, you don't think Tom Hanks was the good lead?
I think he's doing something interesting and he's trying his hardest, but I don't know if he's the right actor for that role because as good as Tom Hanks is, like, it's kind of hard. Like, we just watched Road to Perdition and they talked about it earlier this week. Like, even in that movie, I remember when it came out, people were like, oh, Tom Hanks is playing a bad... He's not really playing a bad guy in Road to Perdition. He's like playing a complicated man, but he still has a moral compass, like, yeah, he's a murderer, but he's got a code, like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's still kind of Tom Hanks, even though it's a darker side of Tom Hanks. But like,
I
he's
can
not
see that.
really he's not really playing a bad guy. Where in the Lady Killers, he's a bad guy.
Hmm. Hmm. With a southern drawl.
Yeah.
He's very
Um.
much like a foghorn leghorn.
Yeah, he's putting on like an extra Southern accent, like, yeah.
If you will.
But I haven't seen either of those since they came out.
Same. I saw Lady Killers in theaters. I don't remember too much about it, but yeah, same. Like that one. And Intolerable Cruelty, I have zero recognition of. I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah. It's a screwball comedy. George Clooney's a divorce lawyer. He ends up falling in love with Catherine Zeta-Jones, who kind of is this person who marries rich men and then divorces them and gets their money.
Yeah. Well, nobody was like those are one of the two like big hot actors at that time.
Yeah, like that should have been like, slam dunk
Yeah.
with that casting.
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest slam dunk for the Coen brothers is probably Big Lebowski, right? I think that's the movie that everyone knows, and maybe No
It's
Country
kind
for.
of the what Big Lebowski has kind of become something huge, but like when it first came out, a lot of critics were like, this is your follow-up to Fargo? What is this? And like it did not do well financially, but like it has grown into this huge cult thing where like, yeah, a lot of people would say that's their favorite um Coen Brothers movies. Obviously, I guess No Country for Old Men is one of their bigger slam dunks because it was a financial success, and of course it won, the Academy Award for Best Picture.
Mhm.
I think that and True Grit are probably their two biggest financial hits. Obviously, Fargo is considered by many their best work, and that's kind of where they get. It's kind of where they get like Hollywood's like, okay, I guess you guys are really good filmmakers because they get the Oscar for best screenplay, and Frances McDormand wins Best Actress, and they get nominated, and
Yeah.
of course Barton Fink wins the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. So
Mm.
like they've always been kind of critics' favorites, and they're they're not really like what mainstream widespread appeal. Like I feel like you kind of have to be in that niche to like their stuff. Like there's people that definitely do not like these movies because
Yeah.
they're a little too quirky, they're a little weird. Oh Brother Where Art Thou is another big one that people really like.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
especially around here. Like almost anyone I know would probably hate any other Coen brother movie, but they'd be like, "Oh, I like Oh Brother Where Art Thou."
Yeah. Or they hate musicals, but they like Oh Brother Where Art Thou.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need to talk about or bring up. I think we've pretty much covered a
Well,
good
the
part.
movie itself, Miller's Crossing, there's nothing that's really spectacular about it. Meaning, like, it's a pretty much a straightforward tale. The acting's pretty, solid and straightforward. There's no real sort of like crazy twists and turns. It's really just a smooth take. I didn't have to think too hard. I mean, it was just a really really easy view, and yeah, I think that means it's a great film. An easy view, uh, good acting, good writing. Yeah, I mean it's just, but again, there's nothing crazy spectacular over the top about it. I mean, there's a reason why people are talking about, Fargo and Big Lebowski, No Brother Where Art Thou, and not Miller's Crossing. You know, but it's really really solid. And again, it's in the top like 100 AFI or whatever. So obviously, it's solid.
Yeah, it's a well-respected movie. I think this is them taking a stab at another genre and putting their mark on it and making it their own. And you've got those colorful characters and the dialogue that I think elevates it because yeah, it's basically them doing Red Harvest as a movie, but kind of putting their own spin on it. And because we've seen that plot before and we see it time and time again. But I think they put their spin on it and make it their own. But if there's nothing else you want to bring up about this movie, I guess we'll get to rating it.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So for the Coen Brothers, this is the rating system I came up with. I don't know if it's really that good or not, but it's what I came up with. So if you love this movie, you think it's a masterpiece, you think it's great, well, it's a damn fine picture. If you like this film, you find it entertaining, you think it hits all the marks it needs to do to make a good, provoking film, well, it's quirky but delightful. Of course, there's always deep dive if you feel like this is a more obscure, not mainstream film. It's a cult film or for cinephiles. If it's kind of mediocre, doesn't quite work, it's missing something, then because of Fargo, I'm gonna call it. It's funny looking, And then if it's terrible, it's a disaster. It's just horrible. I decided, well, if you described a plot to a Coen Brothers movie in one word, what would that word be? It would be it's a clusterfuck.
Okay. I mean, with what this description of what you said, I'd have to go with quirky and delightful.
Okay,
it hit all of the marks to make a solid film, just like literally what I was saying right before we did the rating system. So I have to go with quirky and delightful. I think it really did hit all the marks, and yeah, really, really smooth. Went down really, really smooth.
So is what's kind of missing for you to make it on that higher level? Is it just the quirkiness or the comedy wasn't enough? Would you have liked more comedy in it?
No, I don't need that. I needed. I mean, I don't need this in any film, but if this were to take me to that level, I needed something to make me go like, whoa, or like a twist or something that I just didn't see coming. Because, like I said, this is super straightforward, very, very, very easy and smooth. So, I mean, it would have to have. It would like Verna would have to be the one to kill her brother or something for me to be like, whoa,
So I think I get what you're saying, and that's kind of why I'm gonna give it a damn fine picture, just because it's so well made and so well done. But I don't think it's like in my top 5 of Coen's. It might squeak into the top 10, but I think what you're saying is why it's probably not higher up on my list. Not because I need a twist or something different, but I think like some of these other films there's just something about them. I don't know if it just is more niche into the Coen's work, or there's just something more interesting going on with the cameras. I think this is just them taking a stab at doing a gangster movie and putting their mark on it. But I mean, 9 times out of 10, they do something. It's going to be really well done.
Yeah, and I think taking that stab really worked out for them, because this is it worked out. I mean, it's a good film.
But I guess in comparison to their first 2 films, I guess I would watch the other 2 films probably more so than this one, just because maybe there's more rewatchability. I think with Blood Simple, you're just so impressed because you're like, this is somebody's first movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Raising Arizona is just very entertaining. So it just has that rewatchability factor. Like, it's just so fun to watch.
You rewatched Raising Arizona
Uh-huh.
for the show. How is it seeing Nick Cage and then like compared to what we're getting from him now,
Uh,
because
well,
he was in Pig last year. People were thinking he was going to be nominated for Best Actor, and then now he's in the movie where he plays himself.
yeah.
So, what do you think? Did his lineage of filmography work out well after seeing him in Raising Arizona? Do you think he deserves the stardom that he got, and sort of this resurgence that he's having right now?
Well, I certainly like that era of Nicolas Cage performance. It's kind of comparable to Johnny Depp's early career, where they're doing weird and strange things with their performances, but they're acting like, and like, Nicolas Cage always does that Nicolas Cage thing where there's a freak out scene or something where he goes really over the top. But this is like before he gets into like all those action movies and stuff, after he wins his Oscar, he does all those action roles and stuff, and like I think even cranks up the Nicolas Cageisms even more,
Mm-hmm.
and to where now, even before this movie, like something like Mandy, he's kind of like parodying his like persona, but I think he knows it, and like I think he's always an interesting actor. We make fun of him for his Nicolas Cageisms, but I think he's an interesting actor, and if the right film and the right role comes, like they know how to use him properly in a movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I need to recheck out Raising Arizona. It's been so long.
It's fun. I like it a lot. It might be up there as one of my favorites.
Sweet. Well,
But I'm glad we finally got this to work.
oh my God. Yeah. Sorry. Ugh.
It it's
It took
okay.
Yeah, it took like over a half hour to get this going. So
But and I'm glad you enjoyed the movie. So
very much.
that's good.
Yep. Yep. I'd say I liked it more than The Duelist
Well,
overall.
yeah, I would say that too. I definitely like this more than The Duelist because there's more going on. Nothing against The Duelist. It's a very good looking picture, but like I'm kind of like this is what they were fighting about all that time. Like uh, it seems like very like anticlimactic compared to like what's going on, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Where-
I see that you're wearing the Batman shirt. Did
Yeah.
and you saw the movie. How do you feel after a couple weeks of it being in your brain?
Oh, I absolutely loved it. I probably will not see it again till it comes on streaming. Not because it's not good, but because it's 3 hours long. And there's other movies I like to watch. That's usually why I don't go see movies more than once in the theater and pricing, but like because there's other things I want to watch. But yeah, I think it was really well done. I think it might be the best Batman movie, or at least comic book adaptation of Batman we've ever gotten. And I'm interested to see what Matt Reeves does next if he gets to play more in this universe.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty solid, and for a 3 hour movie, it went by pretty quick. Um, I mean, that's how I felt about Spider-Man as well. So,
I think it's great that we've had so many different interpretations of this character now, and like almost every time a director has come in and put their take on it.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess you could even say that with the Schumacher movies, whether you appreciate them or not. There's a take there.
Yeah, I mean, there's some I like. Some of it I like,
But
but
yeah, we've had now at least three distinctive versions of Batman live action in 30 years time.
yeah, yeah, it was really, really good. But you know, I'm not like I don't feel threatened by Robert Pattinson. you know. But I
Well,
thought,
I will say this. I thought he did a really good job. The only thing I didn't like about his performance is there wasn't really any Bruce Wayne
yeah, it
there
was,
yet. And that
yeah.
may be part of the movie too. That's probably part of like the plot is like he hasn't figured it out yet.
Did you like Paul Dano?
Oh, I thought he was so good.
Yeah, I think everyone was really good in the movie.
Oh, Jeffrey Wright was great. I love that Gordon actually does stuff in the
Mm.
movie.
Yeah,
Like
they're like a team. They're like a crime fighting team.
that is why I love this movie so much because Batman's actually being a detective in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I loved Colin Farrell. I thought he almost stole the show.
Oh my! I couldn't even tell. I mean, I know it was him, but even looking in his eyes, I was like, this isn't even him.
I thought Zoe Kravitz was great. I thought her and Pattinson had great chemistry together.
Agreed. She was, to me, she was the best part of the movie.
So it's well done. I can't wait to see what they do next.
Yeah. Speaking of what's happening next, is the Coen brothers gonna do anything?
Oh yeah, for next week we don't have a guest, so we're gonna do a double feature. We're gonna do Barton Fink and Hail Caesar. So it's Oscar weekend, so that's kind of interesting that we're doing those two movies next week
Yeah.
with it being Oscar weekend because
I'm
they're movies
excited.
about Hollywood. Yeah, Coda might win Best Picture.
If I hear the word Coda or the words Nightmare Alley, I will be a very happy man.
Well, Coda just won the PGA, so
And
it's
it won
got.
critics, no, BAFTA.
Did it win BAFTA?
Let me look it up real quick.
I I I thought Power of the Dog won Critics'
Oh
Choice.
yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. Power of the Dog one. Yep.
But I think Coda might be the second most likely movie to win Best Picture now, even though it has no director nomination.
That's okay. It doesn't have to.
I
We know
know it's
that.
just kind of weird. It's happened before. It's happened
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. Well, we know Spielberg and West Side Story won't win.
Yeah, that's just in there because they're like, well, you're Steven Spielberg and
Yeah.
you do what you do. Honestly, though, I, I don't know. Somebody might get mad at me, but I feel like the Brana and Paul Thomas Anderson nominations could have been taken out for somebody else.
Oh yes, I totally agree. Yeah, it's unfortunate that you have, like, they feel like they have to nominate the director if they're nominated for Best Picture. It just doesn't. I don't know.
Well,
Has
they
it ever?
can't. Yeah, Driving Miss Daisy won Best Picture. Director wasn't nominated.
Has
Argo
it
won
ever?
Best.
Has it ever been opposite?
Where
Director's nominated, but movie isn't.
all the time, especially like because the directors nominate the directors. There's a lot of times where there'll be a Best Director nomination because they like the movie, but the movie didn't get Best Picture. Like last year, Thomas Vinterberg got nominated
Oh
for Best
yes,
Picture, but Another Round was not nominated for Best Picture.
yes.
It's crazier now that still happens every once in a while when they like nominate more than 5 movies now. But it
Yeah.
used to happen a lot with when it was just 5 movies because they like I said, they'll always sometimes throw a movie in because they really like the direction of that movie or something, but it didn't get a Best Picture nom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That Thomas Vinterberg, obviously, that's a great one.
But yeah, if I was gonna do it, I was like, because like obviously, whatever you think about Power of the Dog or West Side Story, those are well directed movies. Like they look
Oh yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I think Drive My Car that directing nomination was deserved too.
Yep.
But I'm like, Belfast and Licorice Pizza, they're both good movies, but like there's nothing in it that I'm like, wow, that was really great directing in here. Like they did their job.
Those are my two least favorite movies out of the 10 nominated for sure.
Those are your two least favorite?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Licorice Pizza was one of my least favorite movies of last year.
You're like, just the Bradley Cooper scene, that's all I want. The rest of this movie, yeah.
Yeah, give me Bradley Cooper. Give me Sean Penn. I'm good.
Well, thanks so much for taking up over 2 hours of your day today because of technical difficulties. I appreciate that. I always like having you on.
No, I thank you for having me, and I would spend 2 hours with you talking about movies or trying to figure out how to talk about movies any day.
You'll be back with us. I'm not sure it'll be later in the year, but you're going to talk Tragedy of Macbeth with us.
Yep.
The solo Coen brother movie.
Yes, yeah, actually that would be a good talk. That would be something. Obviously the Oscars will have came and went by then, so that would be good to see if Denzel took home another one.
I don't think he is. It's
also a surprise that he was nominated.
I mean, I'm not completely surprised he was nominated because he was getting a lot of other nominations, but like I only knew two people that were getting in for sure, and those two people are the people that are most likely going to win. But I'm pretty sure this is one of the more locked categories.
Yeah. Yep, and we know that Javier Bardem's not going to win. So.
That's true. Yeah, I would say he's the least likely one to win.
Yeah.
You're just nominated. All right. Well, if anybody wants to, I'm excited. If anybody wants to follow you, or you got anything you want to plug?
Yep. Worth the View movies and all the things. I've been more active on TikTok lately, just because I feel like I have more viewers and stuff going on there. So I've been doing, like fun, stupid, like movie stuff. Usually, if I'm reviewing a movie for that day, I'll do something that has to do with that movie. I'll just throw in a little something, just fun little TikTok stuff. But yeah, Worth the View movies and all the things. You also can find me over on the Fleming Film Show with Rob Fleming. Cody's on there this week. I was unable to join them in talking about Judd Apatow movies ranked. But we'll be back next week. We're doing Meryl Streep top 5. So she's my favorite actress. So it's going to be a fun topic.
That's going to be hard.
It's definitely going to be hard. Yeah. But yeah, thanks so much for having me. Guys, keep listening to this guy talk about movies and their partner because they know their stuff, and Video Store Rejects is awesome. So make sure you guys follow them more and more and more.
Well, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your time in the ATL.
Thank you. Yes.
And have a good one. And I appreciate you coming on the show, and I appreciate you taking a chance on a movie you'd never seen before.
Yeah, well, I guess the next time we talk about it will be a movie I have seen, which is Tragedy of Macbeth. So
yeah, you have seen it, but that's okay. It's okay to talk movies.
I'll give it a review before we chat about it to make sure to know that I won't say what I feel about the movie yet, but cool. Thanks for having me, and you guys are rocking, and we'll do this again.
Yep. Take it easy and don't work too hard where you're on your project.
Thanks, buddy. You too. We'll talk soon.
All right.